Hello and welcome everyone to Business Africa. I'm India Yoka. Let's take a look at the headlines. Abolition of borders, a common customs system, and now a shared investment bank. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are accelerating their integration. A new regional model or a risky gamble for the AES? In Nigeria, the startup Itana is rolling out an ambitious strategy to create a digital ecosystem where you can register a business, access financial services, and operate from abroad. In Nairobi, 8 million jeans produced for Levi's and Wrangler provide jobs for 66,000 people. However, this industry is threatened by the imminent end of the AGOA agreement. The Alliance of Sahel States continues to equip itself with tools for emancipation. A new investment bank is expected to finance more autonomous industrial development, helping to structure their ambitions.
The Alliance of Sahel States, bringing together Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, is marking a decisive step in its ambition for accelerated economic integration. Since their break with ECOWAS in 2023, these countries have multiplied their initiatives, elimination of roaming fees, and a common passport project. On the commercial front, the AES has established a common customs duty of 0.5% on imports from non-member countries, thus laying the foundations for a more integrated regional market. The most recent step is the creation of the Confederation Bank for Investment and Development. With an initial capital of 500 billion CFA francs, this institution aims to finance critical infrastructure and local industrialization. The goal: to strengthen economic sovereignty. However, the path remains fraught with obstacles. Political instability, security challenges, and ongoing economic pressures persist. But the alliance is already laying the groundwork for major advances with projects that could transform the region. In the long run, deeper economic integration or even a common currency could reshape the economic landscape of West Africa. Whether it will be a success or a failure, only time will tell.
From Bamako to Niamey, passing through Ouagadougou, a new economic ambition is taking shape in the Sahel. To better understand the stakes, this week we welcome international economist Magaye Gaye. Mr. Gaye, welcome to Business Africa. A new investment and development bank is in the works. We can easily imagine that there will be challenges to ensure its success. What are they?
The project to create a bank at the AES level is not just a financial project. It is also a political act of sovereignty that in a way calls into question the ability of the AES countries to, of course, secure their own funding for their own development. But as you rightly said, there are many challenges to overcome. The first is the challenge of mobilizing resources. The founders have put forward a capital of 500 billion, which is quite substantial. Today, it will be necessary, on the one hand, to work on significantly releasing this capital, but on the other hand, to open it up to other partners in order to gain more credibility. A country like China, with its enormous reserves, should serve as a springboard for this, as well as the BRICS countries, but also, why not, African and Arab sovereign wealth funds that could come to the rescue. Naturally, when we talk about a bank, it will be necessary to have a strategic, viable vision. Of course, it will also be necessary to have competent staff, which should not be a problem. And finally, the third challenge I see, are these AES countries today truly determined to leave the board?
Precisely, can this new bank redefine the way the AES interacts with international donors?
Well, this initiative should now encourage these development banks to reconsider, why not, their sectoral priorities regarding the AES countries and perhaps even their conditionalities as well. Because these countries are not isolating themselves. On the contrary, they now finally have the opportunity to diversify their cooperation with a number of international financial institutions, particularly Arab ones, but also to be able to rely first and foremost on endogenous funding which is currently the credit of the new authorities in these countries.
The current momentum of the AES is paving the way for a common currency. Is it credible? If so, what would the implications be?
Yes, I do say that it is possible because, first of all, it should be said that these AES countries are not starting from scratch. They make up 3/4 of the area of the WEMU, the West African Economic and Monetary Union. They also account for 50% of the population. That's not insignificant. Now, the main issue is first to get out of the dead ends we face with the CFA franc, which is not an industrializing currency and does not allow for competitive devaluations when the context calls for it. These countries should avoid making the same mistakes as the BCAO by deciding to put the fight against inflation at the center of their monetary policies. It is absolutely essential to focus on full employment. This is extremely important in order to rethink financing mechanisms. To conclude, a few prerequisites. These are the harmonization of fiscal, budgetary, and economic policies. These countries have structurally deficit trade balances, so it will also be necessary to correct these trade balances so that these countries can truly embark on vigorous monetary policies that are also successful in the medium and long term.
Mr. Gay, thank you for your expertise.
Thank you.
Nigeria is banking on its digital revolution to overcome crises. With the tech market growing by 15% per year, the African giant wants to turn its economic challenges into a springboard.
Driven by a dynamic youth and a pool of innovation, Nigeria's economy remains one of the most promising on the African continent. Yet, foreign direct investment has dropped drastically, reaching only $29.83 million in the second quarter of 2024. This is its lowest level in 10 years, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. This decline is largely explained by the devaluation of the naira and the business climate considered unstable, which discourages international investors. However, some players in the technology sector continue to believe in the country's potential. This is the case for the startup Itana, which is betting on digital innovation as a driver for recovery.
With Itana, you have the ability to register your business remotely. You can be based in New York and register your company, recruit talents, contact suppliers, operate in Nigeria, open a bank account, and pay your taxes no matter where you are in the world.
As the first company in the country to receive an official Digital Special Economic Zone license, Itana makes it easier for foreign players to set up by giving them simplified access to local talent and the Nigerian market.
These applications are designed to make it easier to register and more generally to manage and operate a business from Nigeria. And given Nigeria's strategic position on the continent, the application is therefore very important. It's very important. It's a good thing. It's very important, a good thing, important.
Itana is currently developing a 72,000 square meter technology campus in Lagos, capable of accommodating up to 5,000 people by 2026. Equipped with a dedicated banking platform, a tax incentive system, and streamlined administrative procedures, this zone aims to make Nigeria a leading digital innovation hub on the continent.
Kenya's denim industry, which produces 8 million pieces per year, relies heavily on the AGOA agreement. Its announced end threatens thousands of jobs in a sector that is key to the local economy.
In Nairobi, these machines produce 8 million jeans each year for American giants Levi's and Wrangler. But this industry, which is vital for 16,000 Kenyans, could collapse by September. The reason is the possible end of the AGOA agreement, which exempts these products from customs duties in the United States. Without it, the industry is under threat.
There is nothing we can do, because without AGOA, my company cannot exist. And many of the EPZ companies we know, I don't think they can either. Ethiopia is an example. The country was on the right track. Then AGOA disappeared and everything collapsed.
After losing AGOA in 2022, thousands of jobs disappeared in Ethiopia. To avoid the same fate, economists believe that Kenya must anticipate a new situation and diversify its markets.
It should look for opportunities in other markets, for example, take advantage of the continental free trade area, or look for ways to negotiate directly with the United States of America. From the new US administration, all partners with America must demonstrate their value, perhaps for a free trade agreement that doesn't necessarily use something like AGOA. Kenya needs to look at its value propositions to the United States beyond appearances. With just a few months left before the deadline, Kenya's denim industry is holding its breath. As Nairobi is just coming out of a US tax warning, Kenya is entering negotiations from a position of weakness.
That concludes Business Africa. To watch this episode again, visit africanews.com and all our digital platforms. See you soon.